What's this, Thursday?
Friday.
Oh.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Good morning. Good Friday morning. Welcome to Our Morning Take. My name is Frank Johnson.
My name is Abraham Lawrence.
And I'm Tim Goetz. I did that on purpose.
That was awesome.
Our goal here is to...
I waited 24 hours for that joke.
Oh, that was great.
Our goal here is to describe for you the movie that's
was
going
good.
on in our head when we read the Bible. Today is Friday. It's December the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. December the 15th. Yes. We're halfway through the month. It's episode number?
240.
240. We only have 10 more episodes left in this year, and we're going to make them count. What you got, Abe?
Man, I'm just really enjoying, this blessing of Jacob's children. And it's not what anyone's expecting.
No, not at all.
No one's expecting any of this.
So he's already talked to Reuben and Simeon and Levi, and then he has this long blessing that he gives to Judah. And there's a few things in here that we do need to take a look at in this blessing of Judah. So we're in Genesis chapter 49. I believe one of the first ones we need to talk about is this lion, because Judah is strong like a young lion and then established like an old lion. He actually compares him to both. He has the great features of both a young lion and an old lion. And then the other thing is the scepter.
Yes.
It says the scepter shall not depart from Judah. However, the first king of Israel did not come from the tribe of Judah, because God says, well, give the people who the people want.
Yep.
He came from what tribe, Abe?
Tribe of Benjamin.
Yes, he sure did, which was another great tribe. It was a tribe, another Rachel kid, but it's not the tribe of Judah.
No.
So there you go. But David, he comes from the tribe of Judah. Solomon, of course, comes from that tribe. And Jesus Christ himself comes from the tribe of Judah.
And there's so many, if you read this, and then there's so many references to Jesus in these few
Shiloh
verses.
actually is the kind of a secretive version of who Jesus Christ is, the Messiah, until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of all the peoples. Yeah.
Like I was saying off the air, I mean, you thinking you guys are all of the brothers are in here, and then you hear this big blessing from your brother Judah, and you're just like, well, you pretty much gave him everything, so what's left for me?
Well, he is the firstborn, and he gets the firstborn blessing. So he's getting the firstborn birthright, which he does get the double portion. I love how he talks about this, the vine.
Yes.
That he's gonna wallow in it. He's just gonna have such wealth, and that's really what the wine part means. And his eyes are dull from wine. It's not because he's drinking or he's drunk. It just means that he's just going to be embellished with it. Yes. And so that's Judah, and he is definitely going to be that guy. Then he comes to what?
I'm laughing because Zebulun's probably going to be like, that's it?
Zebulun, yeah. Zebulun is next up. He's at verse 13. Zebulun will dwell at the seashore, and he shall be a haven for ships, and his flank shall be towards Sidon. Now, so the Bible is accurate, and it is true, and he says these are things to come. But do you know that Zebulun did not settle by either the Mediterranean Sea or the Sea of Galilee? Zebulun will dwell at the seashore. Does not happen. How about that?
Wow.
So I just wanted you to know that, because like I said, I do know that the Bible is true, and we're not trying to prove the Bible false. But what we are saying is that Zebulun didn't actually dwell at the seashore. Zebulun did dwell on, though, was the Maris Road. It was called the Via Marius in Roman times, in Jesus' time. And they were extremely well taken care of by the shipping and the trade routes. So the seashore did bring them all this wealth, but they didn't literally settle at the seashore. And I found that a little odd, because in every one of these other cases, it's absolutely true what Jacob tells them, but Zebulun doesn't. Now, it's either that or our theologians have it wrong. And when Zebulun first settled when they first went over, Moses got them into the land, maybe some of them did actually settle by the seashore. So I don't know. And maybe when we get to in Joshua, maybe we'll be able to come back to this a little bit. But just keep that in your mind.
Will do.
Issachar is a strong donkey lying down between the sheepfolds. In other words, he's stubborn, but he's loyal. because that's what lying down between the sheepfolds means. And when he saw that a resting place was good and that the land was pleasant, he bowed his shoulder to bear burdens and became a slave at forced labor. We read about it in 1 Chronicles chapter 7, verses 1 to 5. It actually talks about the sons of Issachar. These are some warrior dudes, man. These guys really bear up they shore up the Israelite. And then Dan in verse 16. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Did you know that's what his name means? Dan means judge. That was what Dan meant. That's why I was asking you if you had these names, because some of them were actually.
And you know who's one of the most famous Danites?
Well, man. Is that Deborah? No, she's actually the next one, right? Isn't
You mentioned him earlier when
Issachar.
you were talking about prostitutes.
Dan in the tribe of Dan? So
Samson.
who?
Samson.
Oh, Samson's from the tribe of Dan? Man, I had no idea that was the case. All right, well, you would know, because I know that you know these stories. So I'm not even going to debate you on that. But yeah, that's like news to me. Yeah, that's strange. I was going to say something. Well, I guess we'll get to one of these others. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent in the way, a horned snake in the path, that bites the horse's heels so that his rider falls backwards. For your salvation I wait, O Lord. Once again, he treats Dan like he sort of did Reuben. He starts out by saying really nice things about Reuben, too. You're my firstborn, my might and beginning and my strength, preeminent in dignity. But guess what? You're not preeminent. So he tells Dan, you shall be a judge of your people. But this is the kind of judge you are. You're like a serpent. You bite at the heels of the people. In fact, when we get to Judges,
Yes, you'll even see it even starts out,
he's a very famous chapter in Judges where they're just horrible. They're amoral people.
Yep.
I mean, they just throw the morals out the window.
Yeah, because they dwell in their land and they're literally doing everything that everybody's doing.
And Dan gives up the land that they was actually given by Moses and flees even further north, almost completely out, all the way to the point where they're completely taken out in Revelation chapter 7. If you go to Revelation chapter 7, verses 4 to 8, it talks about the 12 tribes, the 12 names of the 12 gates in the new city, the 12 tribes. It lists the 12 tribes, and guess what? Dan ain't one of them.
Sure.
He's not in there. So he's totally been left out. So isn't this kind of a really cool thing that Jacob says in the last, verse 18, for your salvation I wait, O Lord. I wonder if Dan didn't make it. You know what I mean? I wonder if a lot of the Danites did not enter into the kingdom. Then as for Gad, verse 19, raiders shall raid him, but he will raid at their heels. So do you realize that Gad was the tribe that literally settled right along the Jordan? Some are even on both sides of the Jordan. And so that anytime an enemy came to Israel, Gad was the first one up, so they were like always being raided. Seems like their cities were the ones that were being plundered all the time. But they were also pretty shrewd people, good fighters back. So it's amazing. Do you realize that this is almost, I forget how many years it was, 600? I think it's 640 years David arrives on the scene from here. So he's telling these people these things that aren't going to happen. Some of these things aren't going to happen for another 500 or 600 years.
Yes, it's amazing.
But that's what it is. Asher, his food shall be rich, for he will yield royal dainties. Now, when Moses gives Asher his part of the land, it's some of the most fertile land that you've ever seen. So they grow some of the best crops, and he serves some of the most wonderful meals, and he's just north of the palace there in Jerusalem. So the king was always able to get Asher to bring some good food down there.
Yeah, some of them royal dainties. I wonder what that was.
And you know that Jacob actually knew about some good cooking, right?
Yeah.
Asher must have been his go-to man. Like, you reckon that's it? All right, man. We're gonna wrap it up for another week. We've got a few more kids to go through, but we'll have to wait till Monday. Man, I love how that outro just comes right on in there. It's Friday. Go to church.
Go to
this
church. Please go to church.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks to Christmas.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Go see Tim's play. It's this weekend, I think.
That's right. He's playing
Yeah,
Gabriel.
it is. It's tomorrow night in Dallas. Y'all, look
God
up
bless
the address.
us all, everyone.
We're going to put a link in the description.
Oh, Lord.